Ukraine's President Zelensky says there's been a major shift in Donald Trump's position on Russia, with the US president saying Ukraine could take back all the territory it's lost. After President Zelensky and Trump met on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York, the Ukrainian president welcomed what he called a new closeness in Mr. Trump's position. Our State Department correspondent Tom Bateman reports from New York.
Volodymyr Zelensky came to New York and found President Trump, this time giving him and his country high praise and an unprecedented claim that it could eventually force Russia out. After their meeting, he posted, "I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form." Mr. Trump was asked about the recent incursions by Russian planes and drones into Estonia and Poland.
Do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
After their talks, Mr. Zelensky suggested what the US president had said amounted to a significant shift.
Today, we had good conversation with President Trump, and I think he understands for today that we can't just swap territories. It's not fair. It's not real.
So you think his position has changed?
Yes, I think so. And God bless it. I really count on this.
It was 5 weeks ago that Donald Trump invited Mr. Putin to Alaska, a red carpet welcome onto US soil, and even applause for the leader that invaded Ukraine. But his attempts to woo the Russian president into any concessions failed. Moscow was still demanding more Ukrainian land than it already had as part of any truce.
You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
Mr. Trump has shifted positions on Ukraine and Russia multiple times now, from his Oval Office ambush of Mr. Zelensky, now lurching back into much clearer support for him. At the UN, Mr. Trump called Russia a paper tiger, saying it was not a real military power. Western diplomats have welcomed the remarks, but say they should still be taken with a pinch of salt. Even so, Ukraine's key European allies are running with what he said.
I welcome the proposal we saw a few hours ago from the President of the United States, recalling the gradual weakening of the Russian economy. I welcome what he said, the on-the-ground failures of Russia. In more than 1,000 days, Russia's hardly gained 1% of Ukrainian territory. There's been so much loss, so many civilian victims, and few territorial gains.
President Zelensky is hailing what Mr. Trump has said here. He thinks that it shows the American president is coming right back into the camp of the Ukrainians. But the fact remains that Washington hasn't given any new funding for weapons for Ukraine since Mr. Trump came to power. And that would be the one thing that truly could change the course of the war, and something Mr. Trump is still unwilling to do. As Russia's attacks on Ukraine continue, Mr. Trump's apparent shifts are some comfort for Kyiv. But with few signs Vladimir Putin has been moved by Mr. Trump's previous flashes of irritation with him, Moscow seems unlikely to be fazed by this one. Tom Bateman, BBC News, New York.
The Kremlin had a diplomatic response to President Trump's change of tone. President Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov told Russia's RBK radio that the Kremlin leader values the US president's efforts to seek a resolution to the Ukraine conflict. Let's get some thoughts from Arseniy Yatsenyuk, who was Ukraine's prime minister during the 2014 Russian invasion of Crimea. He's now chair of the Kyiv Security Forum. Arseniy Yatsenyuk, thank you for being with us. I wonder how much of Mr. Zelensky's optimism you are sharing.
Well, first, I share the take of President Trump. We can win this war, but let me add his statement. He said that Ukraine can win this war with the support of European Union. He probably missed, and the United States. So this is a verbal U-turn. That's true, and that's not what Putin expected. But what Putin is closely watching right now, whether this kind of verbal U-turn would be underpinned by very strong actions. Words matter only in case if they are backed by bold and strong actions. So I expect that the US president to decide to provide an additional security supplemental for Ukraine, to impose secondary sanctions on Russia and those who help Russia to circumvent sanctions. That the US will stay strong and stay united with the European Union. And look, NATO and the US are the real superpowers in the world, with the strongest military on earth, with the strongest economy on earth, with the huge population, with the cutting-edge technologies. And we are fighting against Russia, which is actually Russia is fighting against us, with the size of economy less than Texas, and we are deliberating over an issue whether we can win or we're gonna lose. We can win, and we have to win.
You talk about this shift, this verbal U-turn needing to be followed by concrete actions, because many will say Donald Trump tends to agree with the last person he spoke to. Couldn't there be
the last person was Zelensky, so I hope that he agrees with Zelensky.
People are saying that there could be another verbal U-turn the next time Donald Trump speaks to somebody pro-Russia, perhaps, and then turns in the direction of Putin again. How confident are you that this is a real significant shift?
I am confident that it is in the United States national security interests to help Ukraine to win in this war. I am confident that Trump doesn't want to be humiliated by Putin, because Putin already played Trump in Anchorage. Putin already made zero concessions, but he got everything that he wanted. And I strongly believe that Trump has realized that this kind of tapping along with Trump plays against the Trump. The US is facing midterm elections. And look, the majority of Americans still support Ukraine, both Dems and Republicans. So to put it in a nutshell, it is in the national security interest of the United States to help Ukraine, and it's in political interest of the President Trump to help Ukraine. So, and I believe that he's going to follow this path.
So you think there has been a realization by President Trump that he has been played by President Putin. But why, in that case, have we not seen the sort of actions that you say you want yet?
That's what we expect to see. Because after this kind of very strong statement, the world is closely to watch what kind of actions President Trump is to undertake. If there will be no actions, this would severely depreciate the words of President Trump. And this would have a negative and disastrous consequences for his reputation and for the reputation of the United States. And that's not the aim of President Trump. So I hope that he wants to get the Nobel Prize, not the Nobel Prize that have been gotten by Kissinger for Vietnam, a different type of Nobel Prize, where Ukraine is to get durable, fair and just peace.
Arseniy Yatsenyuk, former Prime Minister of Ukraine and chair of the Kyiv Security Forum, thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you.